Welcome to the Brave Women at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pastikas. I'm so glad you're here. With the Brave Women at Work podcast, you'll get the resources and tips along with real-world stories and humor to empower and inspire you to take bolder and braver actions in your career and life. Welcome to the Brave Women at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pastikas. I'm so glad you're here. Well, hey everyone, how are you doing out there? So I am really pumped about this episode. Maybe I'm pumped every week where you guys are like, man, she's pumped every week. Well, there'll be a week here coming up with one of my guests in particular that I was struggling with that sinus infection that never went away. It feels like I've had it for like a month. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I have had it brewing for a while. But I am so excited and I have a fun show for you today. So you're getting a sneak peek. It's almost like you are hanging out with one of my very best friends in the whole world and we're all having coffee together. So you're getting a sneak peek into a conversation with one of my oldest friends, Pam or Pamela Fierst-Walsh. And this is Pam's second time on the show. And it's just such a blast to record with a friend. If you've never done a podcast with a friend, I highly recommend it. It's almost like it forgets like it's, not that podcasting is work to me. It's like breathing. I just love it so much. I feel so privileged and humbled that I get to do this. But I even forgot at one point we were on a podcast because this is just who we are. This is who Pam and I are, and this is just how we talk. So you're along for the ride in today's show. So as you will hear, Pam and I recently, we went on a retreat together. This is not the first retreat we've been on. We went on another retreat many, many years ago to a place called Yogaville. Yes, Yogaville is a real place. Go Google it. And it is still very much out there. I think it's renowned in the US. But this one was a lot more tame. And a lot less Yogaville, but just more as impactful. I thought it was an amazing experience. So during the trip, Pam impromptu asked. So we're in the trip, we're in Montana. She asked if we could record a special summer episode. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So here it is. It is absolutely perfect timing as the leaves are changing here in Chicagoland and the weather is starting to kind of get a little bit more, a little bit colder in the morning. And so this show is a great way to wrap up all of our summers if you are in the US or in the Northern Hemisphere, and to focus on a fun and actually also a deep topic, which is spiritual friendship. So during today's podcast, Pam and I discussed that we have been friends, we counted it out, for 27 years, and we haven't aged a day. See this is like girl math. Like we haven't aged at all, like not at all. But we've been friends for such a long time. Again, so grateful to you, Pam. So humbled that I get that opportunity to have a friend for that long. And I asked Pam, like, what motivated you to join me in Montana for the retreat? We also talked about how we met in 1998, and we almost bumped into one another in 1997. And what the definitions of spiritual friendship, and I even went so deep as to talk about doppelgangers. If you look at Pam's photo in any of the social media posts, and then obviously, you've seen me a few places, we look related. And so we talked a little bit about doppelgangers. The impact our friendship has had on both of us, and I know it's had a monstrously positive impact in my life. I also asked her, I was a little afraid to ask this, but if we can't spend a lot of time together, because when we like come together, it's like really good, strong energy, and things just pick up like where they left off, whether it's been a year or 2 years, 5 years, whatever the last time we've seen each other in person. But could we live in the same state again, or like could we live in the same city again? Like we kind of dug into that a little bit. And I did ask Pam, as I ask all of our guests, but I wanted to hear her most recent advice on 1 to 2 ways that women can be braver at work. So she shares that as well. So here's a little bit more about Pam. Pamela Fierst-Walsh is the Vice President of Government Affairs for North America with the De Beers Group. Pamela is the former VP of Traceability at PVH, where she worked with the Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein brands on global traceability objectives. She is also the former CEO of her consultancy, PFW Advisory, where she provided advisory services for regulatory and supply chain needs, particularly with respect to environmental, social, and governance (ESG) concerns. So, if the Brave Woman at Work podcast has helped you personally or professionally, please be sure to share this show or the entire feed of the shows with a family member, friend, or colleague. And as you know, the ratings and reviews help the show continue to gain traction and grow. So if you've already left a rating and review, I thank you so much. And if you haven't, please do me a favor and just leave that review. You can go pop over into Apple Podcasts. You hit leave a review. It takes just a few minutes and it really makes a difference. So I would appreciate you doing that. Also, I've been kind of teasing out there that I've been working on this like top secret project. Well, here is the awesome announcement. It's live. So I've been working on this awesome project with, I want to give some credit here, Jackie Satera of JNC Innovations and Jennifer Johnson, who is a rock star up in Canada. Her name, her brand name is Nurse Jen, and it's former RX for Growth. And so here is the announcement. If you haven't heard me tease this out lately, it is a Brave Women at Work affirmation deck. So a physical product with Brave Women at Work. And it's just so much more than a physical product. I have to be honest. It is a 54 card deck. It is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I thank Jackie and I thank Jen Johnson for their support and their inspiration. And they're like, yes, Jen, we can do this. And I've told Jackie many times and Jen as well, I could not have done this without them. So I am so grateful. So it's a 54 card deck and it's a beautiful compilation. And this is what makes it so much more than like a physical product or an affirmation deck. It's a compilation of advice and hard won wisdom from various podcast guests over the last several years, the authors in the Brave Woman at Work anthology series, and even community members. So you can grab a copy of the deck for $19.99 plus $10 in shipping. So to purchase your deck, you can go visit Brave Women at Work and click on resources. From there, when you see the drop down of resources, you're going to see the affirmations cards page. And if you get a deck, I hope you enjoy them. What I've been hearing from other women that have them is they may take out a new card a day and just keep in rotation throughout the year, or they might do one new card per week. But I hear it's making a really big difference. And it was just kind of like a burning desire to do this in my heart. And so here it is. I never thought I would create an affirmation deck, but it has been born. So go check that out and let me know what you think. Also, we have 1 to 2 spots still available in our upcoming anthology book, Brave Women at Work Lessons in Authenticity. So, again, if you have a dream of becoming a published author, look no further. My colleague and partner, Hope Mueller of Hunter Street Press, we take you step by step through the 9-month publication process. And if you're thinking, like, oh, I'd love to do this, I just want to tell you what the best part is. It's one of many best parts, but you do not need to be a professional writer. You simply need to have a dream of becoming an author and that story of authenticity within your heart. So if you'd like to learn more, you can email me direct at hello@bravewomenatwork.com. All right, let's welcome Pam to the show. Hey, Pam, welcome to Brave Women at Work. How are you today?
Hey, Jen, I'm great. How are you?
I am so excited for our conversation live and with. Do you know that we've almost had 100,000 downloads of this show?
No,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
34 countries. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. 34 countries it's hit.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I'll show you a map sometime and
Oh my gosh.
100,000 downloads. So
That is huge. Congratulations. I love that
yeah,
for you. I
yeah,
love
no
that.
problem. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so everyone that's listening, Pam is a longtime listener, a second time guest. So and you're gonna find that like we've known each other a really long time. You're gonna hear that in a little bit. But it's been a hot minute. I didn't have time to go back, but I think you're within the first like 50-ish episodes, and we're quickly approaching about 250. So it's been a
Okay.
hot minute. So
Okay.
why don't you kind of tell everyone again, because we have people that kind of come in and out. So
Yeah.
tell everybody about your backstory and kind of where you are today.
Yeah. So, Well, let's see. I think when we first spoke, when I first had the pleasure of being on the show, I was relatively freshly out of government service because
Yep.
I worked for the U.S. Department of State for 17 plus years, where I was, a fancy foreign affairs officer, diplomatic person, and served my country for a long, long time and really loved it. But I made the transition from government service into the private sector, and I went to a large apparel conglomerate. And then I went out on my own and did some consulting in supply chains, which are kind of my jam. And I was having a lot of fun doing that. And I had just said to my husband, I think I'm just going to stick with consulting. Like, this is pretty great. And then my new employer called and they said, we'd really love to have you on board. So I'm the head of government affairs for North America for the De Beers Group. So the diamond mining fancy people. And they own a couple of other companies, but it's very much in my sweet spot with government affairs, a lot of supply chain issues, sort of relationship, external affairs, etc. Yeah.
So I have to ask you, do you get free or reduced pricing diamonds at
Oh my
all? Just
God,
was
wouldn't
I
that
thought
be
I'd ask.
so great? That would be so great. Everybody asks that. Very good question. There are like friends and family discounts, yes.
Okay.
And they do like some friends and family sales a couple times throughout the year, but as a general rule, like no.
Okay, well, I thought I'd ask. I thought I'd ask
Yeah, it's a
because if
very
I
valid.
ever see you, like if I ever see you like Andy Anderson from How to Win a Guy in 10 Days and you have that
Right.
monstrous rock on your neck, I'm going to be like, "Hello, hook a sister
Hello.
up here." Yeah.
Right? Let's be clear, if I'm wearing that necklace, something has gone really right, but really wrong because I'm not talking about it, is what I'll say.
Oh
Yeah,
God. Okay,
yeah.
well, that's awesome that you've, kind of gone, in that wonderful direction. And I always like when I'm at work, you're like my fancy friend. So I'm always like,
Oh.
yeah, my friend is in Botswana. My friend is in like London. As we're sitting like in like, Chicago suburbs and everyone's like, oh, she's fancy. I'm like, yes,
She's so
she is.
fancy.
Yeah,
She's
yes,
so
yes, she
fancy. She's so
is.
fancy, which as you know me, I am not remotely fancy, but I appreciate that very much.
Well, while I was like kind of thinking about like what questions and like the direction of our conversation today, so I started doing the math, which is not my jam, but I was like, okay, this is our 27th, everybody, 27th year of friendship. This friendship is longer than many marriages. Okay.
That's
So
insane. That's insane, especially when you consider that I'm only 29.
I
That's insane.
know.
That's
Like
insane.
I like was I yeah, 27 years. Okay.
That's a
So
lot. That's a
I
lot.
feel very privileged to say we've made it 27 years. What about
I
you?
think it's awesome. Like, look at us go. Here's to
I
27
know.
more.
I
Yeah.
know exactly. So, we're going to get sappy here. There, who knows? There may not be, a dry eye before it's all over. So, what do you think our friendship has meant to you over the years?
Oh my gosh. Like, what hasn't it meant?
I
Like
know.
we we first met when we were 20 years old, 20 years old,
Yes, crazy.
and we were living in a foreign country.
Yes.
We came from the same state and like roughly the same part of the state in Northwest Indiana. And we were like very similar people, but we were really out on our own for the first time, like ever. So we weren't fully formed humans, right? Like by any
No.
stretch. And so to go through like that experience, a year abroad together in the first instance is like amazing, right? But
Yeah.
then to like transform from that to like, you know, marriages and kids and, ups and downs of life and parents and all of the things. It's just pretty remarkable, when you think about it.
It is pretty remarkable. I totally agree with that. And so I was the person because I'm more of the woo person, as we're going to find out as we go farther along in our friendship and our relationship. I was like this, everybody. I was like, well, you know that we're going to be like connected forever. Like I'm talking everybody like within the first hour. Like I met her. I was like, by the way,
By the
you and
way.
I are connected forever.
Yeah.
and that's just how it's happening. And she's probably
That's
like,
what it is.
what the hell? Like, I
Well, yeah,
remember.
which is also really funny when you consider that, like, as a good Libra, like
Yeah,
I don't leave anybody behind, right? Like I bring all the friends with me along on the journey,
yeah.
which is great. But to meet somebody who was like even more like doubling down within so quickly, I was like, well, I guess this lady's sticking around. Okay.
Okay.
But I mean, it
So
was like what a
great.
fantastic blessing. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then just one other thing, to talk about kismet, right? Like, because this whole topic is going to be like, I think the spiritual side of friendship, right?
Okay.
So, so I found out, I think like when we met each other, maybe years later.
Mm.
So we were in Canada also the year before,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
were in Canada in Montreal, I believe. I was in Canada in Montreal, Quebec area, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was at Laval University. What were you doing there that summer?
I was going through Canada on a road trip with my dad. So
Okay.
like Larry and I were just Thelma and Louising our way
Okay.
across Canada. But you were there, if I recall, with like some boyfriend, I feel
I
like.
was
Like
I was there. Yes, everybody. Yes, like that's a whole other deal. I was
I won't say the
there.
boyfriend's name, but that's what I recall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I was with a boy, not my husband, but a
We
different
were having
boyfriend.
very different experiences in
Yeah,
Canada.
no. Like I was there like before, but then in legit, I was there because I was at Laval University.
Yeah.
So I did like the boyfriend trip before, which we won't talk about, and then like
No,
the whole
no.
Laval University like right after. So yes, very different experiences, but we were in Canada, like which is
But
really
it was
weird.
very like, oh wait, we were like, so we already lived kind of near each other growing
Right.
up.
Yeah.
And then like right before we were going to meet, we met. And then there was an other story where like you remember seeing me on campus for the interview for the study abroad
Yes.
thing. And I'm like, I have no memory of this experience at all. And you're like, no, I remember very clearly. You were there and you were wearing this and blah, 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 and I was with the same boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And and it was just it was very funny. So
It was really, really weird. So everybody, we do a lot of stuff together. Like, I mean, she'll come to my house, I'll go out to her, but like a lot of our stuff is like travel connected. So we just recently went to Montana together. So I guess if you ever want to be our friend, you have to be prepared to get on a
summer
plane.
vacation. Woo!
Yeah, summer vacation, right? So we went to Montana together and we hiked Glacier National Park, which was
Mhm.
amazing. We went to a meditation and yoga retreat, which again, huge gratitude and privilege that we got to do that.
Totally.
So you have had like a lot of stuff going on in your life, like
Mm.
likewise this way. It had been a hot minute before we hit record. It had been 4
Mhm.
years since we saw each other.
Yeah.
But so what prompted you to join me on this crazy excursion?
Well, you asked me to, so I said, but you asked me to with like enough notice, right? So
Okay.
because it's I don't want anybody to think that like you just have to ask me and I'll do anything. But the truth is, if a dear friend says like, hey, next year I'm doing this, will you come with me? Then the answer is yes, barring like some sort of
Like
like
life. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
thing, right? um like don't call me today and say next week you're going somewhere and you want me to go, like that's a bad call. But you just said you wanted me to go and I said yeah, okay, let's do it. That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so just so everyone knows, and there's another guest that introduced me to this. So I'm throwing it out there to the ether. P.S.
Okay,
Like
do
not
it.
next year,
Okay.
sometime, right?
Yes.
So you
Okay.
need to look up Camp Chateau in the south of France. Camp
Oh, okay.
Chateau. It's summer camp for women at a chateau. Hello.
I'm in. I'm in there. Let's
I
make
know.
that dream a reality.
I know. Let's make that one a reality. Anyway,
Yes.
and I have to say thank you to Jen Smith who introduced that to me because now it's kind of
Cool.
like part of my dream fabric, right?
Okay.
So,
I like it. I like it.
yeah.
Put it out there.
Yeah, putting it out there. So, when it comes to Montana, what would you say your favorite part of the trip was?
Oh gosh. I mean, it had all the highlights of summer vacation that I look for, right? It was relaxing. I didn't have to do a damn thing.
Right.
Um, it was surrounded by nature, which is so restorative. There was physical activity. So I'm good at like lounging on a beach, but I also really enjoy being active. And then there was even water because the day that we hiked Glacier National Park, we hiked all the way to, I think it was Avalanche Lake,
Yes.
which I mean, I wish no one knew about it because it's so gorgeous, like it was just so beautiful. So yeah, and there was great food, also essential for a good
Oh my
vacation.
God. So what was it called? Mountainside Retreat. Like we're
Mountainside
plugging
Retreat,
Mountainside
shout out to
Retreat. Yes,
Lorraine,
yes. And we're gonna
Whitefish,
put it in the show
Montana.
notes. Yeah,
Yes,
because
yep.
I came home and I'm kind of sad. Like, I mean, like I'm like go to my kitchen and I'm like, where's my vegan, gluten-free,
Right,
dairy-free food right
right.
now?
I made
Like,
a frittata and it was not the same
oh,
when
you
I
did
came
make a
back. I did
frittata?
yes, because we had some friends over and I was like, well, you know what you can pull together pretty quickly is a frittata. And it was like a poor man's frittata compared to what I'd eaten at Mountainside
Lorraine's.
Retreat.
Yeah. Okay. And then so here's what I've done. I've not done
Yeah.
a frittata, but I bought jars. I bought glass
Did
jars.
you? Oh my God. Okay, go on.
I bought like fancier mason jars with nice
Okay.
lids,
Nice
and I
lid.
made chia pudding. Like, so
Hey, that's
I mean,
huge.
it's huge. It's
Are the
huge for
girls
me.
eating it? Are the girls eating chia?
Heck no, that's for me. But anyway, but no, I mean, like, and they're all like, ew. And I brought it up to Olivia, that's my younger daughter. I'm like, here. She's like, ew, ew, ew. So
Ew.
we'll get there, but I'm still a little
Well,
disappointed that it's not showing up at my
that's
kitchen
okay.
right
That's
now.
okay. I know. I know.
She
It
may want
is.
to
It is.
start like,
It's
yeah, Lorraine, like start a meal delivery service nationwide. That would be a winner, just FYI as a marketer.
so good.
Okay, so we've talked about what you loved, but I'm a learner. So Strengths Finder, I introduced that or reintroduced it to you.
Yes.
So learner is one of my things.
Yeah.
So what would you say your like maybe your biggest learning or learnings were from the experience, whether it was about yourself or whether it was about others or anything about the trip? What was your biggest learning?
Um, my biggest learning. That's a really good question. I mean, I think anytime, I mean, just to go with like the woo theme, right? Like
Yeah,
anytime you are called upon to just sit and be, right? And to like really just be in stillness as you do when you're in meditation, whether your meditation is praying or chanting or whatever form your meditation is,
sure.
just sitting and being in stillness is is always like such a challenge, but so kind of revealing. And so it was a really nice opportunity to just kind of go and be still and not have any demands on my time and just explore like what's between two ears and where that's
Mm.
connected to the rest of my body and just yeah, just tap into
Hmm.
some thoughts and messages that I was kind of thinking through.
Mm-hmm. So I would say for me, I don't know. I think that mine was that I have the right to ask for what I want.
Oh, you didn't know that before?
I think it was like a good reaffirmation. Like,
Mm,
so like my word for the week at the beginning was joy. And I found myself like, I mean, I don't know why, but I just was like laughing in meditation and like,
I
like
remember
just
that.
like, yeah, like cackling, a little bit here and there. And
Yeah,
it wasn't to be weird. It just like, I think that there's just been, for me, it's been like a go, go, go mentality. And it
sure.
hasn't been like time for just play, like just like
Yeah.
tapping into like the playful side or the joyful side or the, um, just sheer like think about like the food we ate like just like pure like that was pleasure eating, you know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
like
totally.
being in the grass like with our feet like just like even the simple things, it doesn't have to be far away. We talked about like
Hmm.
joking about Camp Chateau and all this stuff, but I mean just like kind of tapping into the senses, I think, and like also asking for what I want a little bit
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Good. I mean, that's a pretty good like thing to come away with,
Yeah,
honestly.
for me it was absolutely, it was really an
Yeah, but I
awesome
think it's
trip.
a really valuable lesson no matter what, but good for you. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
You.
So we talked about this a minute ago. So
Mm,
we had, just shared it's been 4 years since we
mhm.
physically saw one another in person.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you is like, do you think that's one of the true tests of friendship? The idea of being able to pick up where you left off really without missing a beat. It's like you could live like for me, it's like it doesn't really matter, but like what do you think about that as a true test of friendship?
Absolutely. Yes, 10,000%. It is absolutely a mark of friendship where like first of all, as we were talking about before you hit record, I kind of can't believe that it's been 4 years because like I feel so connected to you regardless that I'm like, wait, 4 years? But then I did the math and I was like, oh my gosh, that's true. Now that's hands down too long to go between
Sure.
seeing each other. Like there's no way around that. But it's been a weird 4 years, right? With like COVID and jobs
Yeah.
and kids and you just don't always get the choice to parents. You just don't always get the choice to go and do what you want. But I think a friendship like ours where you just pick up. It's kind of like no matter when you start talking, it's like, oh yeah, well we were just finishing that conversation, right? Like we just were in conversation together and now time has moved on, but now the kind of conversation continues. So yeah, I do think that's a pretty good mark of friendship.
Yeah, and the other thing is I agree with that. So like going kind of in more like a little, we're going deeper water here now on the spiritual
Okay.
side of our friendship, right? Like so you're a person that I mean, I've had this happen with you so many times. I don't even tell you really anymore. Like
Uh-oh.
so like I could be thinking about you and then like a random text will come through
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like I'm thinking about this and then you're like, yeah, I just bought this, and I'm just like,
Mhm,
this is
mhm.
so bizarro land, right? So I just feel like there's like an energetic, I don't want to say like a cord because it sounds like codependency, but there's just like an energetic connection. There's like a weird, I don't know. What do you think about that? Like there, it
No,
feels like,
I think that I think you're absolutely right. Like we have gone through, our young adulthood into like full on adulthood, and it's pretty rarely the case where when we connect, it's not about something we haven't already like experienced individually, right? Like, oh, I just bought this, or like, oh, I just thought this, or oh, I saw that movie and I thought this, or I'm at this place where XYZ, and be no way, I'm at this place where XYZ.
right.
Yeah, I absolutely do think that.
So I think like earlier, I'm going to go back a minute. Like, so one of the things I, put in here is like, do you think like we're soul sisters or even, I don't think we're pure doppelgangers. So doppelganger is like a striking copy of someone, right?
Yeah,
But I think when we were younger, um, I think it was harder, right? Like I think now,
yeah,
like when people say that about us when they see us together, I think you
yeah.
come to like acceptance. But I think before when we were younger, you were probably a little like, no, damn it. Like, no, like you know what I mean? But like I
Uh,
do feel it's a little odd. So like everybody,
okay.
if you've listened to the if you're listening to the audio just for a hot minute, go check out like the YouTube or like check out Pam's beautiful headshot when like this comes out or whatever. So we have a striking resemblance, like we could be related. So what
Mhm.
do you think about that? Like the idea of, so I mean, I'll read the definition back to you. So
Okay.
I looked it up because I was like, is this even like a thing? So the definition I found is when two women have a profound soul level connection and they share a striking physical resemblance, often to the point where they might be mistaken for one another or they're like mirror images or related images. So what do you think about that?
I think that that's uncanny and probably true. I don't think it's fair to say that I was not interested in being like looking similar or however you said it back in the day. I think that gets to like us being on our own and trying to like carve out
Our
ourselves.
own identities,
And
yeah.
yeah, and but you've got to remember in that context, we were two brunette American women
Yeah,
living in a same small French town, interchangeably experiencing the same
that's
thing
true. That's
like all
true.
the time.
Yeah.
So I think the confusion of who is who was like pretty understandable, right? But if
Yeah.
you fast forward, the I thought Nicole, the woman who led our retreat, shout out to Nicole. As soon as I had not met her going into this retreat, I'd never talked to her, I'd never seen her, she'd certainly never seen me. I walked into the room and the first thing she said was, "Yeah, I totally see it. Jen said you guys are twins," and I completely, yes, like I'm picking it up. So I think it's maybe like an energetic connection, you know?
Yeah. Well, she
And
asked me about you, like, because she was
yeah.
like, okay, how woo can I go? Like, on the scale of woo, like, because like I have to strike
Give
the
her
right
all the will.
balance. Yeah, whatever. And I go, well, they're not going to care, right? Like, they're
Mhm,
fine with
mhm.
it, right? But she's like, okay, well, tell me about Pam. And I was like, you'll see. Like, you'll see. Like, there's like twinning energy going on here.
Yes,
So,
yes,
yeah, like, even her
yes.
eyes at the dinner table, she's like, okay, like, this is
Right,
a little weird.
right. Because it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much for us to, yeah, yeah.
I know, but it's like, so here's a couple examples I've thought about like in our history. So I
Right.
distinctly remember, this was a long time ago. You used to wear a red scarf.
Yes.
And is red still your favorite color?
I love red. Yes, I'm wearing a red blouse today. Yes.
Okay, yes, I knew that. I knew a long time ago it was still red.
Yeah.
So you were wearing a red scarf and we hadn't seen each other for probably months or like probably a year at that point. And like I picked you up from the airport, you were coming to visit me, and I'm wearing either the same red scarf or a similar red scarf or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and even my husband, shout out to JJ, or he likes to be called John now. I know we
No,
have
he
our
does not.
he does at work. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, see,
Side note, when I met JJ, we all said, well, she's not going to marry him. It'll be fine. And
I've been
now,
married almost 21 years.
yeah, and he's like the most amazing guy that I love to death. He's like one of my favorite people. So anyway.
I know. Yeah, he says the same about you too, by the way. So I think he actually would like rather hang out with you sometimes than me, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, unlikely.
No, but like, so just so you're like that happened, right? Like, so
Yeah.
we've had that kind of stuff. So I guess if someone experiences that, so first of all, I feel very privileged that we've had that kind of experience, because how many people in life can say they've met someone that has that type of energetic connection with you? Like, I don't know if you met a lot of people who've had this situation.
No, I mean, no, I haven't. And I think most people are probably like, oh, I wouldn't talk about it if I did, like, so no, I think it's pretty, I think it's special and I think it's pretty cool.
I think it is pretty cool. But I would just say from my side, so let's say that, we're talking to, women probably mid career, like similar
Mhm.
ages as us, and they range, like our listeners range, right? But I would say if you do meet someone, like be open to it, right? Like be
Mhm.
open. It's a really cool experience. Like it's a really
Mhm.
cool ride, I think.
Mhm.
We were just fortunate that we met at such a formative time in our lives, right? But I think that
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
can meet this person anytime, right? Like you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
find really cool relationships. And for what it's worth, like so many people in COVID were so isolated, and I was really blessed that I got the opposite, right? So, like, I met so many amazing people by starting this podcast during COVID.
Yes, your podcast baby. That's right.
My
Yeah.
podcast, baby. I birthed a podcast during COVID. Everyone did something, right? Like, what did you do, by the way? What were you doing? What was your
I
thing? Were you breaking bread or doing sourdough
I did
starters at
try
that
to
time?
bake bread. Yeah, I did try to bake bread. It didn't really work, but I tried. I always said that I thought COVID, despite it being an absolutely horrendous time in the world's history, that it was a good time to realize that you loved your home and you loved your spouse. And
Yes.
so I was sort of feeling really fortunate that we were as good as we were, right?
Oh,
That's how I felt through COVID. Like, okay, I'll find ways to like keep myself busy, this, that, and the other. But yeah, it was a time to really feel appreciative, honestly.
hmm. Yeah, because if you think about it, and I've never done the research, nor do I want to dig there, right? But like, I mean,
Yeah.
there were a lot of marriages, a lot of families that broke up because of like
Oh, yeah.
political breaks or like different philosophies or all types of, like,
Or just like whatever, people get divorced or things happen and or those horrible stories. You heard all these anecdotes of like people in New York, which has a legendarily difficult real estate market, right? Like
yes.
they broke up right at like the day of lockdown, right? And you're like, well, this was bad timing, you
You may
know?
want to hang out a little bit longer.
Exactly.
I feel like I don't know how to describe it, like when we're in like physical presence,
Hmm.
like it feels very powerful to me. Like, whereas like with other people, even like long-term friendships, like it's just energetically not the same. So
Right.
for it feels like I don't know. It's just like everything just amps up a little bit. It's like limitless, like that movie or that TV show. It's like whoop, everybody's a little bit brighter. You know what I mean? So I wanted to ask you about this. So because we are similar, because
Uh,
there's such a powerful energy between us, is it difficult, right, for us to be together for extended periods of time? Like, is it good for us to be like 5 days on, a year off?
so no, I don't, I think it's great that we can spend time together. I mean, could a zip code handle us in the same
I don't think
place
so.
all the time?
I don't think so.
Probably not. But it's true. Like we're two highly intelligent, like very spirited women who like are not afraid to say what we think and feel and mean it when we say it. And so we do bring a certain amount of like of really strong energy to any situation. I don't think that that feels like a drain on me,
Okay.
like that's not how I feel. I don't know. Do you feel that way?
I agree with the zip code thing, right? Like I knew that when I grieved that a long time, by the way. So like after we moved away from France, right? Like I was in a different situation, right? Because you still had senior year of college, if I recall,
I did. Yep.
and you had kind of a little bit of a softer landing. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh
And you were just
no.
like out.
I was like, boop,
You were like
ow.
dropped out of the nest. Like
Yeah,
goodbye.
I was dropped out. So
Yeah.
like it was a
It was
pretty
hard. It
big
was hard for
grief.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like grief kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I knew part of the grieving process was not only like, oh, here's real life, boom, right? But like
Yeah. Yeah.
it also was like I knew in my heart we were never going to be living together again. Like I
Oh,
knew right then. And I
yeah.
knew right then, and by the way, everybody, this was like 1998. So like just ages us. We're
Yeah.
not a day over 29, just so
That's
we're all
right.
clear.
That's
Okay.
right. Just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah, just so we're clear. But I just knew it in my heart. But now that like we've grown as people and I've got the girls and JJ and you've got an amazing husband and Tim and stuff like that. Like I just know now like we've built more solid like foundation like terra firma. And like it's
Oh
not
yeah.
just about the fact you live where you live and I live where I live. It's more I don't think the zip codes could handle us like
Ah.
maybe a couple states closer, but like I don't know if the same zip code
Right.
would work.
The same zip code would probably be a lot for the surrounding area, mostly because like because and I've, I'm such a fiercely like loyal and protective friend, and you are the same.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yep.
like if we were in the same zip code and we're just chatting about like our days and what happened, and invariably things go wrong in a day, and I perceive that you're being wronged by someone, I wouldn't trust myself not to like
Oh.
show up at their house. You know what I'm saying? Just to
Well,
be like,
yeah, like not naming
excuse
anyone,
me.
like on the
Right.
trip, even not named, right? Like
Right.
we've like,
Yep.
we're like, you're like, I don't really like this. And I'm like, oh God,
Right.
she's gonna like pack up
Exactly.
her crap and end up at that person's
That's right.
door.
That's right. So I mean, and that in that way, I think there's just a lot of like sisterly love, and and
Yeah,
that's amazing because neither of us, have a sister. So
I know it is kind of cool. Yeah, that's another PS, everybody.
yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to mention, we talked about our friendship, but you have a really I learned a lot from you actually, because you one of our other friends that went or that you met, Suha, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna put
Yep.
her
Yep.
name
Yep.
on.
Shout out. Yep.
Yeah, shout out to her. So she said yesterday, I just saw her yesterday. She
Oh, good.
actually showed me her bread maker. Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not
You're
ready
not
yet.
ready. We can talk about
No,
that. We can have a separate episode
yeah,
about your.
separate episode about bread, right? Anyway, um, so she said, Pam is so extroverted, right? And I'm more of an ambivert where I'm more naturally introverted. So I'd love to hear if you think you're purely extroverted.
That's really funny. I don't think so at all. I don't think I
Really?
know. It's a common misconception.
Or are
I'm
you like me? Are you an ambivert where you can flex extroverted?
yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I always do like, the Myers-Briggs, whatever,
Yeah.
EI,
What are
whatever,
you?
whatever. I'm an EITJ, but I'm sometimes
ITJ.
an INTJ.
I'm
Um,
an INFJ.
I don't know what that means. You're a
Uh,
feeler
I'm a
instead of,
feeler, judger.
yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to talk.
I don't know.
Another
I
episode,
just the
another
only one I
episode.
ever pay attention to is the E and the I because they're the ones that change. So
Well, E
they've
is extroverted.
yeah, E is extroverted, I is introverted, and
Yeah.
those like definitions make sense to me. The rest of them I'm kind of like, what? That doesn't sound very judgy. Anyway. Um and so doing that like I'm always like either a little on one side or a little on another side. I'm never like squarely one or the other.
Oh,
And the
interesting.
truth is like like I'm one of those people who you know I'm very I have to be very extroverted and external facing for my job. And I think we all do in the age of like Zoom, you
Yeah.
are always in some kind of meeting where you are projecting. There's very seldom time where you are like off and just
Hmm.
allowed to work and get your stuff done. And like at the end of the day, oof, just like let me just please be like quiet on the couch with my husband. Like I don't want
Mm.
to talk to anybody, I don't want to do anything, etc. But because I do have such a strong extrovert like thing, you know, I can just
You get mistaken for
yeah, I get
extroversion.
that's a good way of putting it. I get mistaken for an extrovert all the time. I always say that I'm an extrovert's introvert or
Okay.
an introvert's extrovert, or this happens to me a lot at like conferences where, you know, say you've got like a 3-day conference or a 5-day conference or
That's
whatever it
hell
is.
to me, by the way. That's absolutely hell to me.
See, what I say is that I will reach my introvert's limit at a
Ooh,
certain point for a conference.
got you.
And when I meet my introvert's limit, I am done for the day. Like there is no point in orchestrating something else for me to do. Like no harm, no foul, but I am done being social
I
at
like the
that point.
introvert's limit. I'll text you when I'm at a conference, be like, I've hit my introvert's limit. But
Your introvert's limit. That's
yeah,
right.
well, why I brought this up is because I've learned from you, like you've done a very good job of your whole since I've known you, like,
Mhm.
a lot of
Like
your
my whole
life, like
life.
of building,
Right.
building a really good friend family, right?
Mm, yeah.
And another fun fact for everybody, I'm not going to say this person's whole name, but another fun fact is that my maiden name is Lemon. And one of
Yes.
your other very best friends has
Mm,
the married name of Lemon, like the fruit,
right.
y'all. And I find that very bizarre. But how have some of those other really close relationships, right? Because you've done
Mm.
such a good job. I was like a late bloomer here. I'm better now, but I was a very late bloomer. So how have those other really tight, like friend family members, how have they benefited you personally or professionally through the years?
I mean, look, I consider that the people you're referring to as like chosen family. Like
Yeah.
that's just who these people are to me, right? There's, you know, you're definitely, you know, prime among that circle. And I feel really blessed because it's just I've been fortunate over the course of my life to run into people that I just I'm just gonna keep them. You know, like I'm just they're keeping them. They're now my part of my family. And that's just kind of how I see it. That's how Tim sees it with his family and his chosen family and all of that. It's to me, I think the only authentic way to be. And part of that I think is because I am probably a lot of things, but I'm very sincere and I'm very intentional in a lot of ways. And I feel like if a friend is a friend, they then that's what then they like have a part in your life.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's more of an acquaintance and that's not the same thing, you know.
Hmm.
And so for me, it's just being very authentic in terms of spending time and being in the lives of people that I love. So,
So that's beautiful. And one of the things, a whole other podcast you just gave me an idea
ah,
is the idea of, I think, I love my family, whole other podcast. I think that it's really interesting the dynamic between like blood family and chosen family and like
mm,
what you share to like what side and like
mm,
why and
mhm.
late bloomer there, really really late bloomer there. But I think it is beautiful that you've kind of really curated a nice tapestry of different people in your life. And I mean, your friend family is all over the world, is it not? Or is it
Probably.
more US based?
I think everybody's kind of US based now.
Okay. Okay.
I have had, by virtue of having, been in the diplomatic world for so long, have had a number of friends who've spent long periods of time overseas,
Yes.
or me with them, but not living there, right?
Okay.
And I think maybe the other thing to say is like there is no maximum on love and like how
Hmm.
much love and friendship you can have and you can give and share with other people. So it's not like to have a large friend family is in competition with like your real family,
Of
right? Like
course.
it's just, but I think that's something that doesn't always get said out loud. Like
Oh,
you don't have to, it's not a competition, right? So yeah, that's what I'd
no,
say.
that is a whole other podcast. I'm referring more to, I thought that with every family member, you could share everything and every dream and every
Mhm.
goal. And like, that's a whole other
That's a
podcast.
whole other podcast, Jen.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
whole
It's a
other
whole other
podcast.
podcast, but yes,
Yeah,
for the future.
there you go.
It's been a while, right? I asked this of every guest. What do you believe now, right now, are 1 to 2 ways women can be braver at work?
Um, ooh, 1 to 2 ways women can be braver at work. I think finding ways to articulate out loud when you agree and disagree with something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think rightly so, there's a lot of emphasis around like how to disagree in a constructive way, and I think that's very vital. But I find it's often, and this may sound counterintuitive, important to articulate when you think that something is the right choice and
Mm.
why you think a decision in a business context is the right choice. Because I think it builds credibility for you. And I think you are signaling that like your logical hat is working and you are fully engaged. So I think identify like being able to articulate when things are and are not working is pretty helpful. Another thing that women could do to be braver at work, find those who are swimming in the same direction you are and who share your goals and who are working toward the same outcomes or similar outcomes that are consistent with your objectives. And I think women should be far more embracing of the fact that they can build alliances and friendships across the plane with each
Mm-hmm.
other. You don't have to be in competition. You don't have to do any of that petty nonsense that I think sometimes women perceive as like power plays, but really they're just undermining, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd say. Yeah.
I love it. So, how can women connect with you online? What's the best way to get in touch with you and connect?
I'm on the LinkedIn like everybody else.
I'm on the
I I'm
LinkedIn.
not I'm not I'm not cool enough to have my own podcast that people actually listen to.
Oh,
So,
stop.
you
You
can
could
find
have
me
a
on LinkedIn.
podcast. You could have a
You can
podcast.
find, but no, but you know what? I do think we should pause there and say, you, Jen, the OG brave woman at work, I'm so proud of you for this
Thank you.
podcast and just having this platform and how far you push yourself to do it and how much joy it brings you and the role model that you are for your girls. And I love you for doing it. And I'm so proud of you. So if nobody
Thank
else
you.
tells you that, like that's the truth.
Thank you. I'll cry right after we stop recording. Thank you so much for being, my sister from another mister. And I don't know, just the energetic chain and that like keeps me going in this life and just being really special. So thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, I think that's more than enough reminder to always take a nice summer vacation with your bestie.
Well, that does it for my discussion with Pam today. I hope you found our conversation both valuable and inspiring. Here are a few questions until next time, either to think about or to journal on. Are you lucky enough to have 1 to 2 people in your life that you have that true bond with. Just like my conversation with Pam today. I call them your ride or die friends. If so, who are these individuals? Who are these people? And do they know that they're that special person or people to you? What synchronicities happened that led you to meeting your close friend or friends? How have your close friendships, which we call in today's show your chosen family, how have they impacted your life and career? And one thing I want to mention is if you haven't found a friendship like this, I'm going to tell you, don't fret. My 13-year-old daughter, she's kind of on that search for that person. And I told her, I'm like, I was in my early 20s, right? And I've met so many amazing women, even and men, like all types of friendships as an adult. So don't fret if you haven't found a friendship or a relationship like this. You never know when they are right around the corner. I would just welcome you to be open to it. As a reminder, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The show is also available on any other podcast platform you enjoy. Until next time, show up, pursue spiritual friendship, and be brave.